What is up, everyone? Today, very exciting day. The announcements of the Discord Buddy Read picks, and also the wonderful booktubers that I will be buddy reading these books with and doing a live show with. Now, if you don't know how my buddy reads work, what happens is the booktuber that is buddy reading the book with me picks 6 books, and then I narrow that down to 3 books. And then I put those 3 books up to a vote by you guys, and you guys can vote for whichever of the 3 you prefer. And usually I use the Pokemon emojis to represent different books in Discord.
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
I'm sorry, that cracks me up every time. It's just like, oh my gosh. Anyway, and then after the polls, we will buddy read the book in the corresponding month and then doing the live show. So yes, you guys all understand. It's great. It's fun. So first, for September, the person I'll be buddy reading a book with is Kate, the Almost Book Doctor. Now, she sent me books and I chose the Conspiracy books. And if you guys are new to my channel, this is a collaborative channel between myself and all of my other personalities. So because all of these books are conspiracy related, I'm going to actually throw it over to one of my other personalities who's more well-versed with the conspiracies. How did I do this last time? Thank you, Gregory. I know it's been a long time since the last correspondence from me over at mediafight.com/mediafight. It was very difficult because the deep state of Alucard cultivation, Elliot Brooks, and Joanna have conspired against me, so I am hiding. No one tell anyone of my whereabouts. So, the first book that is an option for September Buddy Read, which you all can vote on, is Star Eater by Kirsten Hall. Now, if you'll notice the description to this book, it has the word shadowy cabal in the description. This is very intriguing to me because I know everything about every shadowy cabal, and I'm sure this is connected to the conspiracy we were talking about last time in Stormlight Archive with what's going to happen in Book 5. This is clearly a collaboration between Kirsten Hall, Brandon Sanderson, Brett Weeks, and every other fantasy author. Up next, we've got A Conspiracy of Truths. This should be no surprise. This book's about conspiracies. I'm going to review this book on this channel at some point. Hopefully Kate has some good insight on this conspiracy as well. This is by Alexandra Rowland. In this book, it looks like we've got a storyteller, but everyone thinks he's a witch and or spy. Now, this is a common tactic by the deep state. Whenever there's someone who disagrees with you, they're just an evil spy. But they're actually the spies, the deep state of Alucard, the Lord Ruler, preservation, cultivation, all the Asians. And yeah, that's why this book is on the list. It seems like it should be interesting. Now, I know Kate put 3 conspiracy books on the list, but the third book I'm picking is The Ember Blade by Chris Wooding. Now, you guys might be saying, Greg, this isn't a conspiracy theory, and I will say that if I picked 3 books about conspiracy theories, that would have been too suspicious. Because, see, Kate, who I'm buddy reading this book with, I don't know if she's part of the Alethi conspiracy theory with Joanna and Elliot Brooks, who, as we know, are the same person. But what I do know is that this book was highly recommended by Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and I know for a fact that Andrew's Wizardly Reads is not part of the Alethi conspiracy state. And I know that Andrew wouldn't give me Elantrian propaganda to read. So if he recommends this book as the best book of the year, I am inclined to trust him. Oh my gosh, I just got a notification for Andrew's live show while saying this. I'm like freaked out. YouTube hears me and knows knows too much. It's part of the Alethi conspiracy. But yeah, the Emberblade, I don't know anything about this really. I just know that it's like a more modern Lord of the Rings. It's very new. People seem to like it. And yeah, there's like some sort of quest or something. And yeah. Now we're going back to Gregory LaPerche and his October Buddy Read picks. Why am I doing like the Obama point? This is like the most like least aggressive point, and I'm playing a character that's like, everything is a conspiracy theory. Oh no, I've got tinfoil hair. At least there was no Mayo trigger warning needed for any of that. October is with Pete from Ponderings of Pete, and we just did a live show on his channel with Christy Lewis, Dostoevsky in Space. And yeah, that was about the Communist Manifesto, so very interesting combination of people. They were both more conservative, or at least socially conservative, in terms of their religious faith and their values. And I'm more of a leftist, but I'm not really like a Marxist. I'm not like, hey, let's take over the means of production. Anyway, Buddy Read picks. So October will be short story month, and boom, Ray Bradbury's second short story collection. And a lot of these are pretty old classic fantasy stuff. So if that interests you, definitely vote for this one. I don't really know how to review like a short story collection that effectively. I've never like done a short story collection on the channel, so this will be interesting. Then next, another short story collection. This one's by different authors, which is cool. And these are quote unquote hard sci-fi, and they're like new. And hard sci-fi's classic definition of the genre is, according to this, in which some element of science or technology is so central to the plot that there would be no story element were it removed. So yeah, very interesting. You've got a few writers here. I don't know if any of you know these people, but if you do, maybe you'll want to read this one. 17 Tales of Hard Science Fiction. Oh wait, more authors? Oh, there's more authors. Okay, now you guys can see all the authors. Oh, and one more thing about these short story collections. So I've actually never read a full short story collection, but just about like my history, I read like a bit growing up, like Harry Potter, Aragon, etc. But I didn't really read much at all in high school and college. But then my senior year of college, I took a class called International Short Stories. It kind of got me back into reading in a lot of ways. And I actually wrote a short story for that class that was, I think, like a little over 10 pages. And yeah, wow. I bet no one will guess the genre to that short story. But yeah, it was very interesting, and I do love short stories for sure. Anyway, third, boom, Daddy Brandon Sanderson. And these are novellas that I have not heard about at all, but you guys know I'm a big Brandon Sanderson fan. Pete is as well. As I was reading Sanderson for the first time late last year, that's around when I met Pete, so this will be pretty cool to read with him. And yeah, Sanderson always has like these cool stories in terms of like magic system and cool ideas, so this is a story where this guy has a unique mental condition allowing him to generate a multitude of personae. Guys, who else do we know like that? I really relate to this book. No, we gotta put the character away. It's going away. But anyway, we're moving on. Those all sound interesting, and yeah, it was a very fun live show with Pete, and we should be talking about the Gulag Archipelago a few months from now and going through that, so that should also be interesting. Now, for November, we've got Jolene Reads, and I'll be buddy reading the November book with her, and she is just like a very nice, lovely person, and she responded to my DMs like very quickly. If someone was like, hey, do you want to pick 6 books you want to read with me? I would be like, yeah, give me like 5 days to procrastinate on doing that, and then like 6 days from now I'll like try to throw something together. No, she's great. Anyway, November's theme, if you will. So November's books all talk about empires. We will start with this one, The Traitor Baru Coromant by Seth Dickinson. I might have butchered that title. Oh well. So basically we got this character just chilling on the beach, and then on the horizon, boom, evil empire coming, trying to oppress them, blah, blah, blah. And Baru tries to just fit in. She'll swallow her hate, prove her talent, and join the masquerade. She will learn the secrets of the empire, and she'll be exactly what they need. Awesome. This is great. Just going behind enemy lines, being a spy, a hopefully good rogue story. And yeah, as I've gotten like later and later in the Books of Babel series, there's like more spy-like intrigue that goes on sometimes, and I'm like, oh wow, this is great. This is done really well in this. And now I kind of want to read like another thing with like rogue-ish characters going around. Also, I don't know like how much fantasy is in this book. I mean, it's a fantasy book, but I don't know like hard magic, soft magic, whatever. Now, up next, boom, The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. Wait, I think did this guy write one of the short stories in the carbonite-tipped pen? I think he did. Oh my gosh, this is named Carbide-Tipped Pens. Did I say carbonite before? Also, yes, Ken Liu. But yeah, I apparently can't read words in titles because I've never read a book before. So yeah, The Grace of Kings, boom, 2 men rebel together against tyranny, and they become rivals. And yeah, this is cool. We've got this charming dude and this fearless dude, son of a deposed duke, seem like polar opposites, yet uprising against the empire. These two quickly become best friends after a series of adventures fighting against vast, conscripted armies, silk-draped airships, and shape-shifting gods. Very interesting fantasy stuff here. Once the emperor has been overthrown, however, they find themselves the leader of separate factions, 2 sides with very different ideas of how the world should be run, and the meaning of justice. Very interesting. I love this. And maybe I have I've been wishing for a good post-revolution story, because I know Fireborn is set in that sort of type of setting, themes, whatever. And I read Promise of Blood in December, which kind of has a sort of similar setup. But that was fairly unimpressive, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was fine, but, I think it could be done better. And The Grace of Kings definitely could be that book. But what also could be that book? Boom! 3rd book picked for November polling, The Ranger of Marzana. And this was Russian Revolution inspired, which is very cool to me. And also, we've kind of got a similar thing going on to The Grace of Kings. We've got 2 siblings, and there was an empire. Father murdered by imperial soldiers, and then that father's 2 kids, our siblings, set out on opposite paths. One trying to destroy the empire, and the other will try to save it. And yeah, definitely Russian inspired, if you know anything about the Russian Revolution and all of that stuff, because the Russian Revolution's interesting because, you had the Tsar, and no one liked the Tsar, and there were kind of revolutions against him, but none of them really worked until one did work, because there's some sort of anti-World War I talks, because basically World War I in Russia, from what I understand, was seen as the war of the elite, because no one cares that some Archduke Ferdinand died in Eastern Europe in a country and that has nothing to do with Russia. And it's why are we going to war over this? I feel like I shouldn't have to get conscripted to fight this battle. So instead of fighting the battle, they had a revolution. And and then they implemented democracies, and there was a vote, and one party won, and the other party was nah, you didn't win. And then there was a coup. So it was it's called the Russian Revolution, and there was the revolution against the Tsar, but then it was a coup immediately after. And I don't know how much of that will be in this. And when a book says Russian inspired, is it referring to that period of time? I'm not even sure. But yeah, there was a lot of horrible fighting then. Anyway, Sonia basically is some sort of warrior who is forced into hiding from the empire. And her brother Sebastian joins the Empire. But yeah, Sebastian is a sorcerer. These things always interest me, right? Because you've got like one person on one side with like almost the exact same experiences as like another person, like with the father dying, and then they grew up in the same household, but they come to like extraordinarily different conclusions. And hopefully the way these characters are done makes it so that those like different paths are like believable for both characters and their thought processes behind it. I feel like something like this could be like incredible, or at least in my opinion, if I like those aspects. I don't know if I will or not, but yeah. Anyway, that was November. In December, guys, we will be rising up against the Tyranny, and that will be with the Library of Alexandria. You know him from the GIFs, if nothing else. And yes, Alan, the king of rising up against tyranny, has put forward 3 books that talk about some sort of like tyrannies and maybe unjust hierarchies and things holding back freedom in one way or another, in kind of sort of like interesting political intrigue stories. So yeah, boom. Of Honey and Wildfires by Sarah Chorn. From the moment the first settler dug a well and struck a lode of shine, the world changed. Now everything revolves around that magical oil. Now we've got the son of a powerful mogul. Arlen is kidnapped and forced into uncomfortable truths about his father that he had kept hidden. And then there's this dangerous outlaw with her own secrets to protect. And yeah, basically it seems like there's this world that revolves around this drug of some sort, substance, and there are a lot of secrets kept by the people on the top, so it will be interesting to see how those unfold. And there's like kidnappings and other stuff that tyrants would do. So, tyranny. And yeah, it says everything runs around that magical oil, so I'm going to assume that everything is run by a fairly tyrannical corporation or government that controls that oil. Anyway, up next is The Hammer by KJ Parker, and Alan was talking about the folding knife, and he like loved the politics in that. And The Hammer seems like it will be very similar to that. I mean, it's by the same author, KJ Parker, and basically there is this dude who was part of a noble family. Then he was exiled to an island, and this island was a colony, and it had a bunch of silver mines. So yeah, boom, colonization, extraction of natural resources, and a tyrannical group of nobility that is colonizing people abroad and presumably fairly, they're a monarchy, so they're oppressive to the people at home as well. But I don't know that for sure. But it seems like it would have a lot of like power dynamics and just interesting trade and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be like sort of a late 1700s vibe. So there should be like flintlock stuff, which I know Alan likes. So I'm looking forward to it. And I know he likes the political intrigue stuff too. So yeah, this would be a very cool book to read with Alan, I think. But lastly, boom, The Dispossessed, Ursula K. Le Guin, the godmother of fantasy as we know it. But this is sci-fi. And yeah, I was trying to figure out where to start with Ursula K. Le Guin. And this from pbs.org says that this is part of the Hanish cycle, and it is the first chronologically, even though it was not the first published. And let's see, when a brilliant physicist challenges the complex structures of society, he risks his family's safety in pursuit of freedom for his imprisoned planet. This novel was recognized for its exploration of anarchism, capitalism, and the juxtaposition of individualism versus collectivism. So yeah, I think those are cool themes to explore. Maybe I shouldn't have chosen these on the same day as I'm reading the Communist Manifesto, but I'm like, how does this book relate to the Communist Manifesto exactly? Yeah, like capitalism and like collectivism versus individualism and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of interesting themes explored in the Communist Manifesto and these books as well. And I like these interesting themes of anarchism and rugged individualism and stuff like that. So this book in particular, The Dispossessed definitely ticks all those boxes of things that I'm interested in, and The Hammer as well, in terms of like the economy and, very like deep, complex world building that sounds like is in The Hammer by KJ Parker. But my Discord is linked in the description. So go vote on one of these books. There's definitely a lot of good options here, and definitely something for everyone. So definitely vote. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Join my Discord. And remember,
Pokemon go to the polls.